Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. In today's gospel, Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven being like a wedding banquet. A king hosts a wedding banquet for his son, so he sends out slaves to invite guests. However, these guests refuse to come because of other commitments. So the king, he feels infuriated and he says, okay, fine, these guests are not worthy to come to this wedding banquet. So he tells the slaves to go to the main streets and invite anyone that they see. And so I want to focus on this concept of invitation. The king sent out an invitation. So when we host a celebration, when we have our own wedding, for example, we don't just invite anyone that we see in the street, but we are so partial with who we invite. We specifically invite people who we have a good relationship with. But you see, that's the difference between us and Jesus, is that while we have partiality, Jesus has no partiality. He has a unique relationship with everyone. So Jesus says that this wedding banquet is like the kingdom of heaven. And we read in the Gospels that he sends out an invitation to guests to come to this wedding banquet. But these guests refuse both times, twice. So what does this show about Jesus? So first of all, Jesus, he desires everyone to be in this kingdom of his, but he's so patient about it. He takes his time. He waits for our response. In Revelations we read, "Listen, I am standing at the door and knocking. If you open the door, I eat in you and you with me." So that shows that Jesus, he hands this invitation over and he waits. He waits for our response. But when we accept this invitation, he comes into our lives and he dwells in our lives and he becomes part of our lives. So in the context of this gospel, if we are to accept this invitation that Jesus gives us to the heavenly kingdom, we will be eternally happy. Our lives will be full of joy, full of happiness with the Lord. Accepting this invitation for the kingdom of heaven and ultimately accepting this invitation for a personal relationship with Christ can ultimately transform our lives. And if you read, for example, the story of Zacchaeus, we see this transformation take place. When Jesus said to Zacchaeus, "I'm staying at your house tonight," Zacchaeus accepts this request, and then what happens? He transforms as a person. He becomes from being a tax collector, someone who steals money, who takes money from people, to a man of charity. He gives money away. He gives money to the poor. And so there's a powerful transformation that takes place. And so if we allow Jesus, if we accept this invitation for the kingdom of heaven, if we open our hearts to God's kingdom and ultimately Jesus' desire for a personal relationship, a transformation takes place in our lives too. We become better people. Jesus forms us to become much better. So we know that the king is Jesus, but then who are these guests? These guests are us. Because like these guests, sometimes we reject this invitation because simply we have our priorities wrong. We feel that our businesses or our work or our family life, our school life, university, all these things are far more important than Jesus and having this personal relationship with him. And so the main message of today is that open our hearts to Jesus first. Let Jesus be that number one priority in our lives. Let his invitation to us to come to the heavenly kingdom be that number one priority. Because it's when we make Jesus our priority that the problems that we face, the difficulties that we go through, whether it's at work, whether it's at uni, all this can come slowly to an ease if we just allow Jesus that number one spot in our lives. Now, I know this is not easy. It's so difficult. And sometimes it's incredibly challenging and actually sometimes brings us to question Jesus. But it's a process. When we allow Jesus to have that number one spot in our lives, slowly throughout our lives, he'll give us the courage, the strength that we need to overcome situations of difficulty, to overcome uncertainties, to overcome anxieties. So as well as giving this first priority to Jesus, we also need to be patient with him. But what I want to say to you guys is that Jesus, he won't let you down. if you give him that responsibility to take control over your life, to have that number one spot in your life, he's not going to let you down. In fact, he will lift you up and he will embrace you more and more and more. So let's not be afraid. Let's not let these uncertainties, these anxieties, issues at work, family life, let's not let all of these take away ourselves from Jesus, but allow Jesus to carry these problems away from us, to carry the struggles that we can face away from us. And in these difficult situations, Jesus will be able to bring joy in our lives. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And please do, write what you think the gospel is saying to you. It's always interesting to hear other people's perspectives. And yeah, until next time, take care. God bless.